Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, as you can probably see, I've come out into the countryside to get away from it all, and that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about in this video. This conversation that I'm having with you today was actually inspired by a coaching call that I had with a client recently, and he was basically extremely frazzled. He was dealing with off the scale anxiety. His sleep was really bad, very impaired by his anxiety, and he was basically at the point of complete burnout and overload, which you may well be able to relate to if you're watching this right now. The upshot of the conversation that I had with him was that he really needed to just get off his screens, get rid of his laptop for a while, and get out into the countryside. He's from the north of England, where we've got lots of beautiful countryside like this around here, and I suggested to him that he needed just a weekend away to just basically get out into the countryside, preferably go camping, have a return to basics, right? A digital detox, get rid of all of that crap that's been cluttering your mind up, get rid of your TikTok, your social media, all the things that have been adding extra weight and pressure onto your mind. Preferably get your shoes and socks off, as woo-woo as you might think that sounds. Just reconnect with nature and reconnect with the fact that you are not just a product of the modern post-industrialized age. You are actually a very powerful primitive creature, and you have billions of years of coding and genetics from a long line of survivors, and you are much more powerful than you think you are. So try and move back into that a little bit, even if it's just for an afternoon in the countryside. Go for a walk around an arboretum or a forest with your shoes and socks off, or go camping for the weekend, as I recommended to this particular guy. And it's actually proven, and I will link to the study below this, that this can do something called reducing allostatic load. And allostatic load is just a kind of fancy new term for pressure that builds up from our modern, very artificial, often very unhealthy modern lifestyle. And if you've watched this video, you will know that this is one of my hobby horses, and I am actually a believer that modern society isn't particularly healthy for us, and that it has led to what we see now, which is an anxiety epidemic, an epidemic in mental health issues such as off the charts levels of depression, anxiety, obesity, and so on and so on and so on, which are all interlinked, terrible posture, and all these things that I think are linked in a complex kind of nexus of issues. And a lot of it comes down to the fact that we live a lifestyle in modern society which we're not actually evolved for, and this is called an evolutionary mismatch, whereby the modern situation you find yourself in is not actually what you're evolved for, so it doesn't suit a lot of our genetics. So as I said, I'm a believer that our modern society isn't particularly helpful for our mental health oftentimes, and isn't particularly healthy for our body. So if you can, have a digital detox, get out into the countryside, get your shoes and socks off, reduce that allostatic load, and preferably go camping for a weekend or for one evening. Just like get used to reconnecting with the earth, sleeping on the floor, getting out under the stars. Even if it's a bit damp and soggy as it is today, it just reminds you that you are a human being, you are part of nature, you're not something separate, you were not born to live behind a desk or behind a computer. And as I say, this is backed up by science. You'll see in the peer-reviewed literature below that it's said that this kind of thing reduces allostatic load, and like I say, that's just a fancy term for what we have known for many generations, which is like conventional wisdom, that getting out in nature, reconnecting with the basics, breathing fresh air, being out in green space under a sky, a wide open sky, that is good for you. It's good for your mental state. So give it a try and let me know how it goes for you in the comments. As always, please subscribe to the channel, because it helps us get our message out there. It helps us raise awareness about the social anxiety epidemic, and it helps us help more people like you.